Hey there, horror movie tea sippers.
The following podcast episode will contain spoilers for the movie we are about to review. If you have not seen the movie and do not wish to have anything ruined prematurely, please do not continue to watch or listen until you have seen the movie.
And welcome to the Horror Movie Tea Podcast. Today, we are covering Something in the Water, which came out in 2024. But before we go into the review, let's grab our cups and talk about tea.
What are we drinking?
We are both drinking the High Calf Ginger Mint Green Tea by the Republic of Tea. It's our very first recording for the day, so we need some caffeine. It's got green tea, ginger, spearmint, peppermint, and green tea extract. Oh, our savior for the morning.
We'll see.
Well,
That remains to be seen.
hopefully. But thank you to the Republic of Tea for allowing us to continue to do what we love. And for our tea sippers out there, brew yourself a cup of tea, sit back, relax, and we hope you enjoy the review. And I just realized we have not announced what cups we're drinking. So I'm doing the tea first,
Then Screams
mug that is on our Teespring.
Yes. And I am drinking out of V's line. My condition is chronic, but my ass is iconic. So thank you, V, for sending us these mugs.
Yes. Those have been a classic.
They have. When you need just a little bit of extra pick-me-up.
Yep. But for the summary, and you will be proud of me, Jess, I've done a summary for all of the movies we're doing today.
Finally.
And I think they will be acceptable to you.
Oh, finally.
So a group of friends come together to the Caribbean for a wedding. A day trip to a secluded island turns disastrous when a shark attack and subsequent boat accident leaves the group stranded at sea, forcing them to confront both the ocean's dangers and their own unresolved tensions.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah.
Yep. All right, so for entertainment, like, I give it a 7.25. Like, it doesn't really bring a whole lot of uniqueness to the table, but I did enjoy the movie. Like, I feel like there were some things that I wish they had done a little bit different. And there's some frustrating things, like, you know, the whole, like, boat accident thing. That was a little bit frustrating. Like, I can understand the panic and why she was rushing.
Like
but
forced drama, for sure.
Yeah. It's like, movie's got a movie moment.
The stakes weren't high enough. It's not bad enough that someone was already bleeding out.
Yeah. And can I just complain? I hate when shark movies do this, where they put a great white on the cover.
But didn't actually use great whites?
Yeah.
Yes.
It was a tiger shark.
I'm so glad. Was it a tiger shark? They looked almost like mako sharks.
It's a tiger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was definitely not a great white. Though tiger sharks are known to be more man-eaters.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so it's like, I'm glad
So that
that they
makes
changed up
sense.
the shark
Yes.
and used something else, but at the same time, like, commit to the bit. Like,
I mean,
false
yeah,
advertisement. Like,
like put the correct kind of shark on the cover at least.
Yeah.
But I am glad that they didn't make the shark growl.
Yes. Yeah. But kind of like my complaints with the movie, like, I really, you know, the shark attack and then the subsequent, like, boat stuff and then being stranded at sea is really just a plot device for these friends to kind of, like, face, you know, the trauma and the leftover, like, feelings from that. So, you know, in the very beginning of the movie, it shows that two of the friends who were dating, they were being harassed by some people who...
Some homophobic people.
Yes. And it caused one of them retaliated and the other one got beat up for it. And so...
Which she didn't even really, like, physically do anything. She flipped
Right.
them off.
Right. Yeah.
Which I feel like is a normal reaction to someone harassing you.
Yeah, I mean, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
but it's like, so I like the setup of that and you understanding, like what happened. But the whole, like, the fact that it was a wedding and these other friends were kind of forcing the two to reconcile, I didn't really feel like it was the place or time. Like, obviously, the one that got attacked, she was very much still traumatized. I mean, she had to listen to, like, a meditation as she is in that airport. Like, she is still very much actively suffering from the trauma still. But yeah, so it's like, I don't think it was a time or place for their friends to force that on them. And plus, it's almost like a position of power where, you know, if I was one of those two ex-partners or whatever, and I was put in that situation, I would feel almost forced to try and be as civil as possible because it's like, it's one of my best friend's weddings. I'm not going to create drama and potentially like ruin her time or day or whatever. So it's like, you know, her friends were almost using their position of power of like, oh, you are forced to be, you know, with us, and you're also forced to try and make my time be good, and so we're going to try and force you to do something that you might not be ready for.
Yeah.
So that was...
I get their friends wanting them to smooth things over, especially if they were really good together, but at the same time, it's not your relationship butt out.
Yeah.
I get it. It's awkward and weird for everyone, but give them a heads up that the other is going to be there.
Yeah.
And then butt out.
Yeah. Now, I did appreciate that all of the friends had pretty distinct personalities.
Yes.
Like, I could easily tell them apart. I will say the bride, she did get on my nerves a bit. Like a lot. But, you know, I feel like she kind of had some growth and kind of reconciled herself towards the end.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like one of those movies where I just felt, it's like I enjoyed the character growth and exploration and things like that, but it was like overall kind of frustrating. But the ending did like recover the movie for me. Like, I feel like they ended it well. But yeah, a lot of the other complaints or comments I have in the realism. So that's what I got.
Yeah. I give it a 6.5 thereabouts. It's decent for what it is. But ultimately kind of forgettable. A little bit.
Yeah, it's been, that scenario has been hashed down like over and over and over.
So much.
Yeah.
So much.
They didn't really bring anything new to the table except for the fact that it's like there was a lesbian couple and that was it.
Yeah, and really they could have been substituted for literally any other couple ever.
Right, yeah.
So it was all right, again, for what it was, which is just a shark movie. Like someone stranded out in the ocean. There's going to be issues. I feel like the relationships between them were awkward, and there was obviously some forced drama and everything. They could have left out a good portion of that, and I would have been fine.
Yeah.
There wasn't really much depth to this movie, I feel like.
Yeah. Like, they were trying to be deep, but...
For a shark movie, I guess you don't necessarily need that. But, and they, like we said before, they raised the stakes more than they really needed to. but whatever. They made a lot of stupid mistakes that drove me nuts, but we'll get to that in the realism. Otherwise, it was decently shot. Most of the deaths made sense. There was one particular death scene that drives me nuts, but we'll get to that again in the realism. And it was just like an okay movie. There's not really much to say about it. Like, it's just okay.
Yeah. I will say that they did. I feel like the actors did have good chemistry with each other. Though. Like they had a believable relationship.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The friend group and the couple.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fairly organic. The conversations themselves didn't seem so much forced.
Right. Yeah, it's more like the premise.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And a couple of the reactions, but, you know. I allowed a little bit for that because everyone reacts differently in stressful situations.
Yeah.
So, and a shark attack would definitely qualify as a stressful situation.
Yeah. Yeah. But for realism, I give it a 2.5. And, you know, I feel like some of the leniency is the fact that, like, everyone will react to a stressful situation differently. Like, you know, whenever the very first friend gets attacked by the shark and she's like, I'm fine, guys, I'm fine. And it takes her a while to figure out that she's hurt. It's like...
That's shock.
Yeah, it's like you hear that all the time.
Yes.
With,
you hear that
like,
with
shark
gunshot
attacks
victims,
yeah,
too.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't even feel it necessarily. They felt pressure and all, but they didn't necessarily feel the pain until a bit after.
Yeah.
Like, the body doesn't register it right away.
Yeah. Yeah. So I thought that was more on the realistic side.
Definitely.
The reef and the deeper parts of the water, or like, you know, as you go out, you know, there's still like bits of reef and it's still being dangerous to drive or drive.
Yeah.
Do you drive a boat?
I mean, you steer a boat, but
Okay.
I mean, you technically are driving the boat.
Yeah. But in her panic to help save her friend, it's like one of the things where it's like, I would hope that she's has a decent amount of experience driving a boat since they rented a boat, and she
was not the one that drove them out there, and she was asking them how things worked, so she was not the most experienced one, which drove me absolutely bonkers.
Yeah, so it's like she probably shouldn't have been the one driving the boat.
She should not have been.
But she was panicked.
Should have switched.
Yeah.
Because the one that drove them out there, the one that originally rented the boat, she was trying to help the friend that was bit and was like holding her head or her leg, one of the two. I think it was her leg. So really the other chick, bride chick, should have switched with her.
Yeah.
Or switched with someone else, like dealt with the phone, since it was her phone anyway. And the main girl, God, I'm awful with names, should have been the one to switch with the other chick that originally drove.
Yeah.
I really should have pulled up the names.
It's like, you know, of course, super panic situation, but it's like, it didn't really make a... Yeah, they should have switched out.
They should have. It would have been the friend's best chance at survival, too.
Yeah, that is true, too. Also, like, once the boat sank and they're, like, looking for, like, connection and stuff for their cell phone, it's like, I understand that they didn't have service at the time, but I feel like chunking your phone...
They said it died.
I thought...
She said the phone's dead, and then she chunked it. Because she was holding it up trying to get service, and then it died. Again, forced drama. Let's just raise the stakes even more.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't feel like she should have just chunked her phone, but I don't know.
I kind of get why she did it. it would be one more thing to hold up above the water so it didn't get damaged, and it's already going to be tiring enough to tread water in the ocean for however long it took to get rescued.
Yeah, it's like, I could picture like eventually checking the phone, but it's like, you don't know when you will be making it back to the island or whatever. I don't know. But also, this is a theme that I feel like it's pretty common with at least the more recent shark movies we've seen. Why do people keep thinking that sharks feel like kicks? I don't understand that.
They get bumped, but it should also scratch them because shark skin is very, very abrasive.
Right.
But you're right, it is a common thing.
Yeah.
This is a very common thing in movies.
Them, deliberately trying to elevate the first victim that got hurt, trying to elevate her leg, that was good. I feel like them taking the time to realize, oh yeah, if you're out on the ocean, you're going to get badly sunburned. Yeah. I thought that was a good little detail. And I found it funny, but I like the fact that they addressed like how they're going to the bathroom. I thought it was a funny interaction though. It's like, I gotta go. And then like,
well, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah. But one of the deaths that drove me the most nuts is the one friend that's like, okay, I'm going to stab the shark.
Yes.
Then she immediately drops the knife. Yep. And then the shark like pops her back up out of the water when she's getting attacked.
And she's punching at it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, that was...
Yep, that was the one. That was the one that drove me nuts.
Yeah. She seemed so confident and then immediately failed.
Yep.
Yeah.
She failed that role of maintaining her weapon when she got bumped.
Yeah. But yeah.
Yep.
That's what I got.
Yeah. I'm gonna give it a 1.5. The practical effects that they used were decent, especially for like the wound. That was really well done.
Yeah, the effects are pretty decent.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the CG was okay.
Yeah, especially for the sharks, the CG was okay.
Yeah.
But the effects were decent as far as like the wounds and the blood, and especially the blood in the water. Mm-hmm. That was really well done. I'm glad that they did try to put a tourniquet on her leg, but they suck so bad at it. And also, yeah, do the tourniquet, but also keep pinching that artery that is clearly, like, she pinched it at first. Mm-hmm. And then almost immediately stopped pinching it.
Yeah.
And then never did it again. You are supposed to keep the wound elevated above the heart, and I'm glad that they mentioned that. That was really well done, and they did try to do that. They didn't do it well the entire time, but they did try, and it is a very stressful situation. They were just trying to get her on the boat, and I get that. And also, once you're in the water, treading water while trying to hold, it's kind of difficult to hold something like that up above the water and everything. So, points for trying. And I don't think I could have done better, honestly, trying to hold someone's leg above the water.
Because even if you're a decent swimmer, it is hard swimming in the ocean.
It is.
You're just being rattled around.
It is. But also treading water, it's very taxing. It's very exhausting on the body. And there have been people that drown. Even though they're really, really good swimmers, they just are completely and utterly exhausted and just can't physically do it anymore, and they end up drowning. So, I get it. The chick should have switched and driven the boat back. Should have driven the boat back. That was forced, unnecessary drama. The friend was already bleeding out. It was already a bad situation. And they could have had the shark, quote unquote, following the boat. They could have. I am glad that they showed how quickly the boat went down. Because that was a big ass hole.
Yeah.
So, and they effed up their engine when they went over it too. So they couldn't like limp it there. They also, I don't understand why they got that crappy of a boat. That's the boat you went with? And when you got on the boat, you didn't even check to make sure all the supplies were there, the necessary supplies? There was like no first aid kit. There was one life jacket when you're required to have one for every person.
Yeah, that's what I thought
boat.
too. And then it's like, I was also wondering, if they didn't have a kit to try and patch up, like, leaks and stuff that happened, and they could at least
there was nothing. There wasn't even a bucket.
Yeah.
There was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. There was no lifeboat, like a raft. There were no emergency supplies whatsoever. Not even bottles of water. Nothing.
They would
absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
So again, a lot of this seemed like forced raising of the stakes. They didn't tell anyone where they were going. Didn't mention it casually to anyone. Didn't say, oh, we're supposed to be back by this time for a nail appointment, I think the bride said.
Well, but they did mention that, like, people should be looking for them.
Should be looking, but if they didn't tell them where they were going, then they don't have a good idea of where to look. The ocean's kind of a big place. And people drift.
Yeah.
It is not impossible that one chick that swam found help.
But pretty unlikely.
It is unlikely. It is not impossible. It's just very unlikely. Again, big place. Big water. Very big place. And difficult to see people in the water. Very difficult to see people. I am glad that they showed a boat passing and they had music going, and those engines can be loud too on boats like that. So even if they didn't have music absolutely blaring, the chances are fairly low. It's not great chances that they're going to even hear you as they're passing by.
Yeah.
There was no flare gun on the boat they rented. There was nothing. No emergencies. And nobody checked. Is it just me? Is it just me being apocalypse mom?
I feel like the majority of people would not expect something like that to happen and would not check.
I wouldn't necessarily check if they had gotten a decent looking boat. But the rust bucket that they had, absolutely not. I am checking the whole damn thing over. Because it looked like a giant tetanus shot waiting to happen. Tell me I'm wrong.
No, you're not wrong.
I'd be checking the whole goddamn thing over. No. So it just seems improbable for the most part for the movie. The shark attacks on the whole were decent, and I liked how the bride, you never actually saw what happened to her. We don't know if she, like I said before, got exhausted and ended up drowning. She wasn't that great of a swimmer to begin with. But we also don't know if a shark got her. Because a lot of times, like we've said on the podcast before, they just grab you and you go down. Like, there are times when people don't even have enough time to scream. It just happens so fast. And then they're underwater and they're gone. So we don't know. I do like how they handled that scene where the other main chick woke up and she was suddenly just alone.
Yeah.
But the punching of the shark one, oh my god. I could understand them showing her punching the shark under the water. Because most people are going to fight tooth and nail to try to stay alive. So they're going to probably be punching the shark. It's not going to be as effective underwater. Kind of hard to hold power in your punches under the water. That's a lot of resistance. But I can understand that. But just showing the shark lifting her up just so we can see her punching it. Can we not?
Peekaboo.
Can we not? And the knife was completely effing useless the entire movie.
Yeah.
The entire movie. So that was a thing. And the girl got lucky with that reef that was sticking up. Girl got lucky. Just saying.
Yeah.
And so, okay. So they get bumped several times and don't get any kind of abrasion or anything from the shark. But the main chick, right before she finds the reef to stand up on, she gets swiped by the shark, like the shark bumps her, and she has an abrasion on her arm. And it's bleeding. And she's like, oh, this is a problem. Which it is. Especially with a man-eater, a known man-eater. Most sharks, they take a little nibble and they're like, ew, this is yucky. It goes away. Because they don't generally eat people. But that one typically does, and they're known to be aggressive as well anyway. So it's a problem, and she gets to the reef and she's fine. And then she's saved. Which, you're not going to outswim an effing shark. And they happen to get her as they're driving past? No. No. But also, be consistent with the damn abrasions, please. Just want consistency. That's all I want. I just want some consistency. Thank you. I feel like it's not a whole lot to ask for. I feel like it's not. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like overall, the scenario itself has been done before.
To death.
And it does feel in a lot of different ways forced. It's like, it's almost like it's more distracting from what they're actually trying to accomplish, which is like, you know, showing the growth of the relationships and them overcoming trauma from this traumatic situation. Like, I understand that what they were trying to push, but because it is such a forced situation, it's like, it's almost like distracting.
Yeah.
So, yep. But thank you for joining us today, and let us know what you thought of the movie. If you would like to recommend a movie, game, or tea, you can leave us a comment or join our Discord server. And if you'd like to keep up to date with our content, you can find our link tree listed below.
If you'd like to support us monetarily, we have a Teespring, or we have our PayPal, and we have our affiliate link with Republic of Tea as well. It does not affect the price of the tea. It just allows us to continue to do what we love. You can find all of those sites mentioned linked below. But until the next time, guys, stay safe and stay spoopy.
Bye.